home, sweet home.
We have a rule at the music show, which is that if we review a CD, a new CD, then we don't have those people on to play live, and vice versa. And we're about to break that rule now because a few weeks ago we reviewed Someone Else's Child, which was Hamish Stuart's first album as a band leader. And Hamish and his band are here, and they're going to play a track that comes from that album. When It All Comes Down, that was called. Hamish Stuart was playing drums. It's his band, and in his band today, Dave Symes, bass, Matt Ottington, tenor, James Greening, trombone, and Brendan St Ledger on piano. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Andrew.
You rule breaker. It's one of the things that, I mean, when Jessica Nicholas and I were talking about the album, one of the things that we both remarked on was your rather self-effacing approach to this task. You know, all of these years you've been drumming for other people. You finally put out your own album, and the drumming is kind of beautiful and understated, and it wasn't even there for the first minute of what we heard. Did you know what you wanted to do when you set about this album?
Well, I think in terms of drumming, it's sort of to have someone comment that it's beautiful and understated is probably the most wonderful comment a drummer could have, I think. You know, like, certainly it's an exciting instrument, but in terms of playing music, I was just sort of, it's about making music for me, you know. And the drums are, you know, they're great. They're an exciting instrument when the technique level is high and the playing is mighty, but also they're a beautiful, subtle sounding, you know, infinite sort of sound spectrum instrument, I think. Yeah.
Melodic even?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I sort of wrote, some of the ideas came from the drums first when I did some gigs with Billy Harper many years ago with Barney McCall, and I spoke to Billy, and Billy said that he wrote most of his tunes from the drums, which is pretty amazing. And, you know, tenor sax player. And his melody concepts and things came from sort of hours of playing downstairs on his drum kit.
Well, what about you, Hamish? I mean, because you say in the sleeve notes to the album that you were a reluctant composer.
Well, I wouldn't actually call myself a composer.
Well, you've written some of the tunes.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's a composer.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, you can split hairs if you like, and I haven't got many left. So, I mean, yeah, I am a reluctant composer. I sort of listen to a lot of music, and I think a lot of it's, you know, way above my ability to compose. But what I have at my you know, at my side are sort of great musicians that I've worked with for years and years, and some of which, or all of which who are here, well, not all of which, some of which who are here today. And, you know, you can put a simple melody in the hands of James Greening or Brendan or Matt or Dave, and they'll bring their own beauty to it, you know, much more than perhaps I might sit up late at night, you know, writing, you know, composing,
yes,
as you say.
Well, when you write a simple melody for one of these gentlemen, do you bear in mind what you think they might do with it? I mean, James Greening, for instance, has one of the most distinctive sounds around. You must take that into account.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think some of the things were written, or some of the ideas that I came up with were ideas that I sort of worked up in my shed, and then I thought, who would this go well with? You know, who could in whose hands would this sound beautiful? And that's sort of how I worked quite a bit, and also with Dave Symes, who was very, very helpful all the way through. You know, sort of with composition. You know, he co-wrote some tunes and. You know, it was really helpful, and in fact sort of pushed me through the whole experience.
Why did you need pushing?
I don't know. It's not sort of something I have really thought about doing that much. I mean,
really?
Yeah.
So this was like kind of, it just sort of happened, this album?
Yeah, it really did.
It hasn't been your ambition all this time?
No. It wasn't sort of one day I'm going to put out the Hamish Stuart record, I'm telling you that, you know. But having said that, to experience the shoe on the other foot, in as much as being in a recording studio and having your friends put the same amount of effort into something that you've written that I would put into theirs, is the most incredible feeling for me. Like, and in fact today, because we haven't really rehearsed any of this, we've got the CD launch coming up, as you know, but to actually hear these tunes played so beautifully by these people, it's mind-blowing, and just enough to probably get me back in the studio to do it again.
Yes, that feeling of hearing your what you imagined played back to you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. What about, were you surprised by the way in which some of this material was treated?
Yeah. I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, certainly my friends and musicians on the record, I feel a mutual respect, so there's no kind of weird sort of, we're going in to do some drummer's record thing, which unfortunately prevails in some areas. But no, it was just, it was an experience that I'd never had. That was the thing. It was actually, at whatever age, it was one of those experiences that I had never had, actually hearing people play my ideas with such sort of spirit and soul, like it's mind-blowing.
We've talked on the music show before about the fact that Australia boasts such an extraordinary wealth of jazz talent today, and yet it's not jazz doesn't pull huge audiences. I mean, you tend to play in small clubs. And how do you guys make a living?
Mowing lawns. No, I think. Well, I mean, I can't speak for us guys, but certainly for myself. I mean, I basically do everything that comes down the phone line. I have a beautiful wife and 2 great kids, and so if someone rings me up to do anything and I'm not working, usually I take that job. I know some musicians are a lot more solid about their artistic endeavours and will not do that sort of thing, and that's fine, I really respect that, but I've got to make a living, so basically I take the music wherever I can and often put the music first over paying, a more sort of financial situation, if that's what you but I mean, you must also get surprised occasionally by some gig that you're doing just because they rang you up and you were free that day and they were going to pay you, and then you find there is something in it for you beyond the money. Absolutely. I mean, one of the most favourite things I do is like somebody's wedding, the wedding gig, and you get an incredible group of musicians, like it can be just a trio, piano, double bass and drums, and you sit in the corner and everybody talks over it at their tables just over there. But and you're playing standards and it's beautiful. It's incredibly fulfilling, and sometimes you get some very nice chicken.